What up, it's your Timmy's here. Here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10 and 20 this week. Alright, there's some really good ones here that turns 10, and one of which is, of course, maybe my favorite one on this list, and that is The Cabin in the Woods. Now, Cabin in the Woods was actually a very interesting horror film at the time. It was actually produced by Joss Whedon, who, of course, a year pretty much after this movie was released, he will go on to direct, Marvel's Avengers and all. And believe it or not, this movie has been in the pipeline. This was a movie that was in the pipeline for years. I kid you not. This film was made before Chris Hemsworth even got the role of Thor. Like not before Thor even came out. Before he even got the role of Thor. So that's how long this it's been when they made this thing. And Cabin in the Woods, directed by Drew Goddard, who did such a great job at directing. I love Cabin in the Woods. I mean, the spoiler alert, but the cameo by Sigourney Weaver was so awesome. What they were able to accomplish with this thing is a train. Now, if you guys don't really know much about the story, it's where like these five college friends, one of which is played by Chris Hemsworth, the other one is played by one of the girls who played the Pink Power Ranger ones. Justin Williams from Grey's Anatomy fame is one of the leads. Uh, you also got Frank Kranz, who recently directed Mass, is one of the leads. Now, they pretty much arrive at this remote forest cabin for vacation, and little do they expect that the horrors away, and one by one, they fall victims, shoot backwoods zombies, and there's also another factor at play where two scientists is played by Richard Jenkins, as well as Bradley Whitford, who of course will later go on to appear and Get Out. Are pretty much manipulating the ghoulish going on here, and it's pretty much like in the vein of, let's say, Evil Dead in a weird way. It definitely had an Evil Dead vibe. There's even a book that pops up in those too. I mean, what they were able to accomplish is so awesome, so fun, very gory. Uh, there's lots of crazy stuff that ends up happening. There's a unicorn. Actually, if you guys watch this, you're never gonna want to look at a unicorn the same way. Yeah, there's like a unicorn that ends up killing someone. There's zombies. There's other crazy stuff. I mean, this movie is so insane, and I just so much adored it. I still wish maybe not Joss Whedon anymore, but I still wish maybe Drew Goddard or someone would give us a sequel because I need a sequel to Cabin in the Woods in my life. Come on, people. But the movie wasn't all that much of a hit, so there's that. But anyway, now also turning 10 is actually another film that was much better than it had any intention of being, and that was the 2012 film The Three Stooges. Now, of course, this was pretty much like based on the iconic TV show and the three iconic celebrities at the time, Mo, Larry, and Curly. Now, I don't know when this thing was first announced. I kid you not. The cast members that was originally announced was literally Benicio del Toro, Jim Carrey, and Sean Penn. Though Jim Carrey one was great, but holy cow, that was horrible casting. But now, of course, the Three Stooges. This one is directed by the Frality brothers, who gave us Dumb and Dumber, which hence why Jim Carrey was attached at one point. And this time, and instead of them, you actually had the likes of Sean Hayes as Larry, Curly, played by Will Sasso, and I can never pronounce this guy's name, but Mo is played by Chris Damopoulos. He played the villain in the recent movie Red Notice a couple months ago. So yeah, I mean, you also had the Jersey Shore. I mean, if you ever want to see Mo just smack the crap out of the Jersey Shore gang, this is one for you. I mean, yeah, this is such a fun one. It's much better than it had any intention of being. I mean, this movie could have came out to be completely dumb and really tarnish what made the original Three Stooges crazy, but it's such a fun one. I mean, all these three, as great as the original Stooges, obviously no. Come on, you can never replace the original Mo, Larry, and Curly. But man, this is such a fun one. I mean, it does pay homage to the original Three Stooges and stuff, and I really got a kick out of it. I mean, come on, you even had the likes of Sofia Vergara popping up. It's much better than you have any intention of being. If you guys haven't seen it, I believe you can probably find it on Disney Plus, MAHUMX. Go watch it. I saw this one in theaters. I had such a fun time with it. All right. Also turning 10, we got Lockout, which is pretty much like a Die Hard in space. I'm just gonna say it like that. Now this of course stars Maggie Grace, who has a habit of being taken and stuff like that. And you also have Guy Pearce here. And Lockout was actually a pretty fun little film. I mean, like I said, it's definitely Die Hard in space, but it's really fun. It's entertaining. Here is where you have Maggie Grace, who is the daughter of the American president, and yeah, never have Maggie Grace as your daughter because somehow she'll end up getting taken here. Uh, and of course, pretty much leads to a message to MS. And you have Snow, who is like wrongfully convicted agent who has pretty much promised his freedom if he saves her and all. I mean, this is actually pretty fun. Stuff he goes through in space here was cool. I mean, it's really fun. Guy Pearce is great. It's did not really get the much love it deserved, but it is what it is. It's a really fun film, and too bad we never really got to see a sequel. But all right. Also, trying 10, we got a really interesting horror film called Detention. Now, Detention is pretty much like Detention is like Scream meets The Breakfast Club mixed with Back to the Future. Yeah. Now, this actually stars Josh Hutcherson. You also have Dane Cook was in this. Now, it's about like this teenage outcast played by Shanley Caswell, her friend played by Josh Hudson, a nerd, and other students who face terror from a serial killer who targets high school students and all. I mean, sorry. Yeah, this is such a really fun one. Definitely has a bit of like that Scream vibe, and of course, the reason why I say it's Scream meets Breakfast Club is because the characters are in detention and there's a killer running around. So yeah, definitely has a bit of a it's like John Hughes meets Wes Craven here. It's such a fun one. Very underrated if you guys haven't seen it. And of course, this was around the time where Josh Hutcherson pretty much came into the big spotlight with the Hunger Games, which was released like a month before and on. And it's he's not as big as he used to be. I mean, Josh Hudson is a cool actor, so yeah. All right. Also turning 10, we got Bend Like Beckham, the soccer movie starring Keira Knightley. Um, Now, this was, of course, also directed by the same person who directed. What was that Beatles movie dang, I forgot the name of it. That was one of my favorite films of last year, too. Bend Like Beckham director. Oh yeah, Blind by the Lights. Why did I freeze up on Blind by the Lights name? It's been a while since I've seen that. But of course, this was pretty much like Keira Knightley's earliest film. Uh, of course, this where like Jess Barmer, played by Perminda, Isadora of a Shrek Indian couple, in London, and she's not really permitted to play organized soccer here, and she ends up also having feelings for her coach as well. I mean, yeah, Ben Like Beckham is a really fun, underdog story film. Keira Knightley was great. I mean, it's a really fun little film. If you guys haven't seen that, all right. What's turning 20? We got the Sweetest Thing, which stars the likes of Cameron Diaz, Christina Applegate, Selma Blair. Now here you've got Christina Waters, played by Cameron Diaz, who has a golden rule. Avoid searching for Miss Right and focus on Miss Right now. And of course, this is until a one night at a club when she meets Pierre, played by Punisher himself, Thomas Jane, only to see him, suddenly disappear the next day. And her and her best friend Courtney breaks the rules and go on a road trip to find him and on. And it's a really fun, cute, charming film. Cameron Diaz is so great in this. Not a bad film if you guys ever seen that. All right. Other films turning 20, we got Changing Lanes, which is directed by the late Roger Mitchell, and starring Ben Affleck and Sam Jackson. Really fun little thriller there. The cast of Meow, directed by the late Peter Bogdanovich, starring Kristen Dunst. Really fun little thriller about pretty much where like a extraordinary look at the faithful excursion, fun and frolic aboard William Randolph Hearst private yacht in November 1924. And there's also like a killing spree that ends up happening too. Really, Chris Dunst, of course, was great in this. Peter, obviously, a really cool director there, so definitely check that one out. Last but not least, there's the late Bill Paxton directed film Frality, starring Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey, where a widow, blue collar worker has a revelation where he must destroy those revealed to him as demons, and he then begins the serial killing of God's hand killer across Texas. I mean, it's a really fun like a whodunit thriller. Bill Paxton hasn't really directed much back in the days, but he was a really cool actor, a really cool director, gone way too soon. I mean, come on, Bill Paxton is best known for movies like Titanic, Alien, Predator. I mean, Terminator. The guy was always in some of the great stuff, and this is definitely probably one of his most underrated films. But really, these a little thriller if you guys haven't seen that. But that's pretty much it. Let me leave you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? Obviously, the 10-year one, I will probably go with Three Stooges, but the 10-year ones, I'm going to go with Cabin in the Woods. And the 20-year one, definitely, I'll probably definitely go with Ben like Beckham. That's definitely the best out of that list. Anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notification. This is Movie Sign.